welcome to the 30th anniversary of 21-31. 30 years ago tonight, the world witnessed one of the most iconic moments in baseball history, right here in this very ballpark. Cal Ripken Jr. took the field on September 6, 1995, to officially break Lou Gehrig's consecutive games played streak. Cal accomplished a feat no one thought was possible that night and cemented himself as baseball's Iron Man. He went on to extend the record to 2,632 games, with a streak ending September 1998, a mark that stands as a legacy to Cal's determination, toughness, and love of the game. Cal's legendary pursuit transcended far beyond the game itself and transformed into a nationwide celebration of steadfast but simple commitment and perseverance. When baseball needed healing, his unforgettable streak and that unforgettable night reconnected us all with the game's enduring spirit. 21-31 was more than just a number. It was more even than just a record being broken. It was a rekindling of belief in America's pastime. In the end, Cal was more than just baseball's Iron Man. At a time of great need, he was its repairman. The streak, nationally, was a moment that saved baseball, but locally, it may have meant even more. It wasn't just anyone who climbed the mountain. It was a Baltimore lifer, a hometown hero who brought our core values to life. That remarkable resilience, that working class ethos, and the unmatched pride we feel for our great city. There were many players, coaches, and staff members who helped Cal through his career and historic streak. And we're going to meet a few of them shortly, but right now we want to take a moment to especially recognize one of them, as the Orioles mourn the passing of Orioles Hall of Famer, second baseman and manager Davey Johnson, who passed away at the age of 82. In Davey's 8 years with the Orioles as a player, from 1965 to 1972, he was a three-time All-Star, a three-time Gold Glove winner, and a two-time World Series champion. He then went on to manage Cal and the Orioles, taking them to the postseason in both the 1996 and 1997 seasons. We ask now that you please join us in a moment of silence as we remember Davey Johnson. Thank you. Tonight, we'll honor and celebrate baseball's Iron Man, the one and only Cal Ripken Jr. We're also honored to be joined by some very special guests at the ballpark who are here to celebrate this special anniversary. First, please give a warm welcome to Cal's wife, Laura, his son, Ryan, and the entire Ripken family joining us this evening. Now, please join me in welcoming some special guests who've come here to celebrate with Cal. First, the legendary voices who were our soundtrack to history 30 years ago. A broadcaster who told us that night that Cal Ripken had reached the unreachable star. Soon to be celebrating his 46th anniversary at ESPN. Please welcome back to Baltimore, Chris Berman. One of the most iconic broadcasters in the history of this great sport. The voice of the Orioles for 14 years and the 2010 Ford C. Frick Award winner at the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Welcome back to Baltimore, John Miller. Welcome back some former teammates of Cal's. an Oriole outfielder drafted the same year as Cal in 1978, and the 1987 Most Valuable Oriole, Larry Sheets. A six-time All-Star who hit 300 in his 2 seasons with the Orioles and homered before Cal on 21-31 night, Bobby Bonilla. Who hit 39 home runs during that 1995 season, 228 as an Oriole, and 569 in his major league career, Rafael Palmeiro. First overall pick in the 1989 Major League Draft, the first #1 pick in Orioles history, who spent 7 seasons anchoring the O's rotation, Big Ben McDonald. The 1973 American League Rookie of the Year and a 1983 World Series champion, please welcome Orioles Hall of Famer, the B, Al Bumbry. A former Most Valuable Oriole, an American League All-Star who spent 8 of his 19 Major League seasons here in Baltimore, Orioles Hall of Famer, B.J. Surhoff. An outfielder who became the first Oriole to hit 50 home runs in a single season and ranks as the club's all-time leader in stolen bases. Perhaps the greatest leadoff hitter in Orioles history, Orioles Hall of Famer, Brady Anderson. It's time now to introduce 5 members of the National Baseball Hall of Fame who are here with us tonight. 4 of Cal's former teammates and one of his legendary former competitors. A 13-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glove winner, and the only man to hit the warehouse here at Camden Yards. Please give a warm Baltimore welcome to Ken Griffey Jr. Six-time All-Star with one of the sweetest swings in Orioles history, who hit .301 in his 7 years with the club. From St. Michael's, Maryland, Harold Baines. A 5-time All-Star, a 7-time Gold Glove Award winner, who is by far the winningest pitcher in the history of this ballpark, the Moose, Mike Mussina. A 3-time Cy Young Award winner, a 3-time World Series champion, now in his 62nd year of affiliation with the ball club, number 22, Jim Palmer. And finally, a teammate of Cal for 9 seasons, an 8-time All-Star, a 3-time Gold Glover, and a 1983 World Series champion, number 33, Eddie Murray. Fans, please now turn your attention to the video board as we take a moment to reflect on the impact of this historic feat in a story narrated by legendary broadcaster and longtime voice of the Orioles, John Miller.
They say baseball is a numbers game. Batting averages, strikeouts, whips, and WARs, OPS, and ERA. But there's only one 21-31. A number so iconic, it is synonymous with a city. A number so large, it is practically unpassable.
When you play a game and you're in a position to hit in the middle of the order, there's a responsibility to show up and be counted on. And I think that's how I looked at it.
A number so important, it is said to have saved baseball itself. But it is not the only number that matters here.
Here is Cal Ripken.
May 1982 to start it all. 289 teammates to play with, to support, to lean on. 1,066 games where Baltimoreans set foot on Utah Street and relished in memorial moments. Over 76 million fans to pay witness. Getting out of bed 5,214 times.
Everybody related to the streak in a very personal way because showing up is the first step.
Cal Ripken stabs it, flies it, gets it.
When it's all said and totaled, the result? Just a man, an Iron Man, a product of Baltimore, by Baltimore, and for Baltimore.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a thrill to be here tonight, and it was a thrill to have been here 30 years ago. And in 1983, my first year here, the Orioles won the World Series against the Phillies. And the great Phillies Hall of Famer, Mike Schmidt, was 1 for 20 in that series against Orioles pitching. And they started booing him in Philadelphia. And Schmidt said, well, one thing I know, Eddie Murray in Baltimore could be 1 for 20, and when he came to the plate, they'd still chant, Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. And now, all these years later, you proved it. He was absolutely right. Great to see you here, you great Oriole fans who kind of made the night for Cal's night 30 years ago. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome baseball's Iron Man, the legendary number 8, Cal Ripken.
Don't you go anywhere. We will return for the 21-31 celebration here from the Iron Man himself, Cal Ripken, O's Extra pregame show from Camden Yards. Cal Ripken taking a ride around the warning track as Oriole fans No one's sitting in their seats right now. Everyone's up cheering on Cal Ripken. This is a wonderful moment. If you don't have goosebumps, you're not a baseball fan. Let's head back down to the field.
You know, I really didn't like anniversaries very much, but now that Junior is a senior, I think they're kind of cool. And I get to share this wonderful memory with my family. My wife, Laura. My love, you brought an abundance of life and happiness to me. I love you very much. My bonus kids, Madison and Trey. And you all know Rachel and Ryan, who threw out the first pitch 30 years ago when they were 5 and 2. Ryan will handle the first pitch tonight, and ironically, Rachel can't miss a day of work to be here, but my baby girl is always with me. The biggest influences in my life, Mom and Dad, are not physically with us anymore, but I can assure you they are still looking out for me. Dad saying, take it one day at a time, and Mom saying, you better show up. My sister Ellie does a good job of standing in their shoes, and I'm so glad to have her here with me tonight. As we remember the 30th anniversary of September 6, 1995, let us not forget the 29th anniversary of September 6, 1996, when Eddie Murray hit his 500th career home run right here in Camden Yards. Happy anniversary, Ed. A great Orioles moment. I've had 30 years to reflect on that wonderful night of 21-31, and I still think it couldn't have played out any better. Trying not to be too philosophical here, but that night was a celebration of an old Oriole principle that we show up each and every day to meet whatever challenge is thrown our way, to count on each other. We played great that night. That simple thought gives great context to the streak. I was always proud to put on the Orioles uniform each and every day and compete. In many ways, I was just following Dad's instructions and Eddie's example. That one day at a time approach turned into 2,632 games in a row. A record, thank you. A record I'm proud of for the simple reason that my team could count on me to be there. We had some ups and some downs as a team, not too much different than this Oriole team. But what's really important is how you keep coming back day after day, no matter what. I find that it is the hard times that you learn the most about yourself. Persevering and pushing forward are traits not just found in baseball, but in life. And that's the real meaning of the streak. And I think we all relate to that. I've been told that this record is unbreakable now. I would always say, if I could do it, certainly somebody else can. And this might surprise some, but I hope someone passes me someday, and that I and all of you have the pleasure of seeing it. Thank you. Thank you for joining me down memory lane. Dad used to say, it's great to be young and an Oriole. A special thanks to David Rubenstein and Michael Garaghetti and the Baltimore Orioles team for this special night and for giving me the opportunity to be involved with these special young Orioles. I've had the great good fortune to play baseball. I've had the great good fortune to play for the Orioles. I've had the great good fortune to play with and against some of the greatest players in the game. I've had the greatest good fortune to play right here in my hometown of Baltimore in front of all of you. Thank you.
As he did 30 years ago, we invite Cal's son, Ryan Ripken, to throw out tonight's ceremonial first pitch. He was 2 years old on September 6, 1995, and 30 years later, he's ready to throw a strike with Dad behind or around the plate. All right, Ryan, it's your pitch. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Cal. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining us tonight on the 30th anniversary of 21-31. Enjoy the game, and let's go O's.